Hey there, Grant Committee. This is Wes. I wanted to take a minute. I know some of you guys may be looking at the new Engage platform, and you're probably scratching your head on what to do in a lot of ways. I'm right there with you on some stuff. I've been in constant communication with our support team, but we had a conference call with the support team for Engage earlier in the week. A few of the staff members who serve on the grant committee team, just to try and figure out what reviewing grants actually looks like and how we do it. If you've tried to take a look at any grants, then you've clearly seen that it is definitely not like it was in OrgSync. It's not as easy as just going in, creating some comments, and then hitting approve or deny. It's a little bit different from that. So I wanted to take a minute, show you kind of the Engage platform, how I would suggest that you approach the grant review process instead of getting us together in a meeting, which I'm happy to do if that works better for you guys. I thought that I could do this virtual training and see if that answers any questions, and then we could maybe go from there as a committee. If you guys think that you need more or something different, just let me know, and I will do what you need. So we're in the Engage platform. I listed my wife Lindsay as a reviewer so that I could kind of see things through the lens that you guys should be seeing them. I have branch administrator rights, and so that a lot of times that lets me see things that you guys don't see. And so I kind of felt like I needed to be able to look through the lens of someone without some of those rights. So I added Lindsay as a reviewer for this particular grant. She will not be a reviewer in future grants, but I wanted to be able to look. So first and foremost, you guys will click Manage. I have you guys currently set up to where you automatically get notified when someone submits a budget request. If you're not getting those notifications, if you would please let me know. That I just need to look into that. And also, if you would rather not get automatically notified, I can manually go in and add you as a reviewer. In the old system, what we did is I looked at them first and I tried to vet whether or not the grant was ready to go to the committee or not. And if it was not, then I would decline it. And so if you guys would rather I do that so that you're not just getting overburdened with every little grant request that comes in, because we do get a ton, I can do that. Just let me know what your preference is, and I can make that adjustment. So you've clicked Manage. Let's jump in here again. We click Manage. We've got a budget request here. You should see that on your home page. In the old system, you had to go through the email notification. One good thing in this system is you can access it through your Manage tab, okay? So we've got the No Must grant here. We're going to click that. It's going to bring us to this home page. This first page just tells us the basic stuff about the grant. What I tried to do is I tried to mirror everything the way that OrgSync had it, with exception to them uploading supporting documentation, okay? So you can see everything about the grant right here. It tells you just very basic information. If you click the next page, you can see a little bit more. This should look very similar to what you saw on OrgSync. If you click the export tab, you could see some of this information. A lot of people probably didn't know that the export tab existed. I know a lot of newer students that get onto the committee, they didn't know this page existed. So this makes it a little bit more visible to you, lays it out very easily. You can see NOMA's 47th annual, date of the project, October 16th, Brooklyn, New York. Tells you a detailed overview, how the funds are going to be utilized. If there's going to be a partnering organization, that's a new rule, remember, is that if they're partnering, it counts towards every organization that's on the grant. It counts as one of their grants. Also, it allows them to get $2,000 per organization, as opposed to the $8,000 grant that we had before. Tells you how it enhances Louisiana Tech, and then we click the next button again. This page, I feel like if you're anything like me, maybe you have a love-hate relationship with it right now. I think in some level, it does lay it out a little bit cleaner so that you can kind of see exactly what it is. In some levels, it is just still, it's going to be difficult to review. So this is essentially how we were instructed to review, to most closely mirror what we were doing on OrgSync. There's just not a good way to do it. In OrgSync, you had the anonymity to make your comments and not feel like those comments were going to hurt anybody's feelings or sway anybody one way or another. Let me tell you this first and foremost. Your comments are not anonymous on Engage. I will show you a little bit more about that in a moment. just be very conscious about that. I'll show you exactly what I think that we should do to make sure that we will get the right language so that everybody's protected. So let's take a look at the grant. You can see kind of an overview at the very top. This looks like it's going to be a conference and convention, very easy. There's one item there, $1,175. You can see it looks like from a glance, I'm assuming that this is going to be for 5 people at $235 each, and it's going to equal out to $1,175. So let's click that, and you can look a little bit closer. I think where we're going to run into some issues initially is that while my preference is that all along it would have been in the one PDF document, all of the supporting documentation would go into one PDF, as opposed to some organizations that would load it down with about 100 different line items and then 100 different supporting documents. You can't do that on this. You can only upload one supporting documentation piece. And I think that's going to create some challenges for some organizations. But let's take a look here. We're going to open up our supporting documentation. Let it download for just a moment on my computer. It should pop up on the screenshot. All right, so let's take a look at conference documentation. So it pulls up a Word document, and you can see the names of everybody who is going on the conference. You can see their student IDs. That's great. That's exactly what we need. There's a link to the conference, shows the conference rates. They also have all of the conference information here, 2019 conference dates. Be very attentive to the dates. That's a lot of times where other people pointed out where I missed it, is that I didn't see that it was, maybe even if they put that the date was a month away, in actuality it says on the, in some cases I've seen where the documentation said, oh, it's in 3 days. So just be careful of that. I don't see the dates right here, 2019. Just for the sake of this video, I'm not going to click the link. We're going to assume that all the dates are accurate, that they're being honest about all of that. This looks like a pretty good grant in my opinion. They've got the hazing certificates all uploaded. I think that's just added. That's not something that we've required from them, but I think this is a good looking grant personally. All right, so we're going to click out of this. Now here you can do one thing when you're in the line item section, this particular budget section. You can see on this is what the user would see when they're filling out. It gives them the option for 5 or 6 different things that they can do, or that they can list as what they feel like their grant request fits into. If you think we need to change that, I'm open to whatever you think those should be. I tried to come up with just some general items that are usually requested and put those in a in a section, right? So conference and conventions, we obviously get a lot of those. We get a lot of requests for DJs and public speakers and things. Those, I felt like we should all put those grouped together. A lot of times we get a lot of, Walmart and Sam's Club shopping carts and things. And so I wanted to be able to group those. And so I gave this miscellaneous other tab here. So in this case, they're going to a conference. They put it in the conference and conventions. So if, say, they were doing that and they also wanted to get, polo shirts to be represented at this conference, and they had a uniform policy within their constitution, they would have something in this section as well that we needed to review. So in this case, they've got the one. All right. So here's what you can do initially. If, say, one of the guys, you notice that they are, if you have access to mainframe and we look at their ID and it's wrong, and we say, hey, we'll give it for 4, not for 5. Or if as a student you're looking at it and saying, hey, I know for a fact that person graduated, they're not here, you can go in and you can adjust the amount as much as you need. All right. So maybe it's, you do the math, whatever 235 times 4 is, you would take that off. And I didn't do the math in my head, but say it's 1,025, you can decrease that. But it actually tells you that it decreased by $150. Say you wanted to go down to 975, you can see it went to 200, so it'd actually be, I guess, 950. So actually 965, right? Nope, I'm doing my math wrong. I'm close. 940. All right, so 940. is what the adjusted amount would be if you only wanted to approve 4 for whatever reason. If you saw something that was wrong, you could adjust the amount, and then you could go to list a reason for the adjustment here. If you do that, that is going to display, at least to my understanding, I'm going to, just to test it out here, we're going to leave it at 1175 and say you want to comment just on this section, right? Instead of, if they had multiple sections, if you wanted to just comment on each section, you could say, I approve this section in full. All right, and then we're going to save and close and see it is going to, let's see, it's going to put it right over here to the side, right? So if we go back to the next, you can see that it was adjusted, the NOMAS conference adjusted from 1175 to 1175. It would tell you if you adjusted it differently, the additional comments. The thing about this is that the user can see if you post it there, okay? So I would recommend that you don't do that. All right, I would recommend that instead you go to the main page. In that situation, what we did is, remember, we clicked and we went into the actual grant. I thought that there was a way to have it where you could just submit that for reviewers. It does not appear that you can do that if you click in there. That's why I say I would not do that. I actually had a call today from someone who said, hey, I was looking at your comments. And I was like, hold on, dude, you're not even supposed to see that. So if you just go to the, don't click on any specific budget section there. If you just want to add a comment, what you can do, make sure that you do this though, is go and click reviewers only. All right. If you click reviewer only, again, there's an add a comment. This is going to comment on the overall grant, not on any specific section. That's where I would create your comments. Click reviewers only. And then here's what I would suggest and ask that you guys do. Because you no longer have the anonymity even amongst your peer reviewers, I would say keep this very, very specific. I know a lot of times people have just been, I'm not reading this junk. That's way too much. I refuse to read that. I'm declining the grant just because I'm not going to read it. Don't do that on this. Try your very best to make sure that you are sticking to the grant guidelines when you're commenting here. So as a result, you would say, I approve this grant in full. Supporting documentation looked great. You don't even have to put the supporting documentation look great. I would even suggest, just for simplicity's sake, just put I approve this grant in full. Or if you're denying it, just put I, or say you just want to get partial funding, as we talked about earlier. I approve partial funding in the amount of $940. Student A, give the name, did not have an accurate student ID, a college-wide ID. That to me sticks straight through with the rules. I can look at that and say, hey, they vetted that. That was great. No one's going to get their feelings hurt. No one's we're going to look at that and we're going to say, hey, this is the rule. So that's what I would use, is just strictly factual information about the grant guidelines there. Okay, don't put anything other than I approve, if it's full amount, if it's partial amount, or I deny. I didn't see supporting documentation that demonstrated the actual fees associated with the conference. What that does is it allows me to take a look at it, and I can look and say, okay, did they just miss it, or is there legitimately not enough supporting documentation? And then I can take that into account when I'm looking at what everybody else voted. All right, so in this case, I don't want to post because, as I said earlier, Lindsay's technically not part of the committee. She already is listed as a reviewer here. I think we'll be okay in that particular situation. If I had to give an explanation, I will. But the problem is I can't deny any of the comments, okay? So if your comment gets in there, it is there. I cannot delete it. So if you accidentally go in and put something personal, or maybe you're having a bad day when you review it and you kind of let your frustration out on the grant, I can do nothing to delete it. It will be there, okay? So be very cautious. Make sure that you are adding your comments specifically to the overarching grant to make sure that the applicant does not see it. If you don't mind the applicant seeing your comment, then you can actually go in and take a look and comment from the actual budget section. So I would use this. I would comment as much as you need to. If it's, hey, for the conference, I only approved $940 total. Such and such didn't have the correct ID. On the miscellaneous other, I approve blah blah blah. On the uniforms and other, I decline that because they do not have a uniform policy listed in their constitution that was added as a supporting documentation. That's what I would do. I list everything out just like that, but just be very factual. If you would prefer to send me an email and just put I approve or I deny, I would ask you, if you deny it, it helps me if you give a reason. If your reason is maybe a little bit more personal and you don't really want all of the review team to see that, please feel free to send me an email and say, hey, Wes, I'm sure you saw I denied. This is why I denied. I just wanted to let you know this is what I saw. This is why I denied that. And then I will take that and I'll say, okay, if you just click deny, then that's what I'm going to look at. I'm going to say, all right, it was denied. And if I have 9 people that approved and maybe 3 that denied, if there's no comment, then I'm going to probably look at it and say, all right, well, the approvals just outweighed the denials. If I have good comments and feedback there, that helps me to maybe, if I didn't see something, or maybe if some of the other reviewers didn't see something, they're able to kind of, at that point, I can take your denial and I can add weight to it, and maybe that allows me to kind of look at the approvals. Even though maybe we have more approvals, I can say, hey, these folks approved, but technically the denies were accurate. They pointed out something that the other people didn't see. That actually could be helpful to be in the comments, but I understand that for some people that helps to be an anonymous statement. It helps you to be a little more free in giving your honest feedback for the grant, and that's what I want from this. I want you guys to be able to look at it and be transparent and honest without feeling like you're getting judgment from anybody on that. So that is how you do it. If you can't access the grant, please let me know. I'm trying to figure out all the different nuances of this thing. So I hope this little tutorial helps. I know that's a lot of information. If you've got any questions, if you think we need to get together, like I said, please let me know and we'll schedule that at some point in the near future, okay? There are a few grants that you guys should have out there. I will go take a look actually at mine. This is my view that I see. Let's take a look here. You can see there's 2 different trips. There's a cultural trip to New Orleans for the ISA and the NOMAS grant there. I will review those, and if you guys haven't gotten both of those, let me know. Here's the other thing about it, though. If the applicant, this is something I have no control over, if the applicant withdraws their grant application, then even if you got the email notification, when you go to click on it, it's going to say that it's not there anymore. I can't fix that. Like I said, there's just some real kind of deficiencies with this platform, but we're trying to work with it the best that we can. So if you got questions about anything else, just let me know. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a wonderful day.